welcome to Oh the Horror. I'm Fedora, and last episode, my 50th, I drew the winner for my big episode giveaway. And if you haven't seen that episode yet, now the winner of the giveaway wanted me to take a look at the 2007 Tim Burton adaptation of the horror musical Sweeney Todd. Now I could go into a little history about the original stage production and things like that, but I think it's best left to someone who knows a little more about these things than I. So, ladies and gentlemen, Diva of Musical Hell.
Thank you, Fedora. Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, is a 1979 Broadway musical thriller with music and lyrics by Stephen Sondheim, composer of Into the Woods, among many other things. Although the story dates back to an 1846 penny dreadful called The String of Pearls, the musical is more directly based on a 1973 play by Christopher Bond, which provided the title character with a more sympathetic backstory and motivation. Set in Victorian London, it tells the story of Benjamin Barker, a barber by profession, who returns home after 15 years of unjust incarceration in an Australian penal colony. Taking the alias Sweeney Todd, he seeks revenge on the corrupt judge who destroyed his life. The original production at the Uris Theatre was directed by Harold Prince and starred Angela Lansbury and Len Cariou. The recipient of 8 Tony Awards, including Best Musical, Sweeney Todd was instantly recognized as a landmark work and is widely performed at both theatre and opera companies around the world.
Nice. Thanks a lot, darling.
We have a deal, right? I make a cameo on your show and in return I own your immortal soul?
Worry not, Diva. The amount of tainted corruption I've done to myself doing this show, my soul is long bound for the pits of hell anyway. But until then, let's take a look at Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
So this movie starts with, uh-oh, that looks like the SS Demeter arriving in London. I sense either great horror or great slapstick is soon to ensue. Aboard the ship is Anthony, returning to the city after exploring the world.
But there's no place like London.
No, there's no place like London.
Get your own movie, lad.
There's a hole in the world like a great black pit, and the vermin of the world inhabit it, and its morals aren't worth what a pig could spit, and it goes by the name of London.
Are you talking about London or the Kardashian house?
As we can gather from those lyrics, Benjamin Barker isn't nearly as happy to be home as his young companion here, as he then sings to him his backstory of many a year ago when he and his wife were living happily together with their daughter until she caught the eye of the evil judge Alan Rickman, who then framed Benjamin for some false crime so then he could move in on his woman. So after parting with Anthony, Benjamin okay, that was fast. Arrives back at his old barber shop, only to find it's now been turned into some run-down pie shop owned by Mrs. Lovett, played by, with this being a Tim Burton movie, who else but Helena Bonham Carter, who doesn't seem particularly confident in her product.
These are probably the worst pies in London. I know nobody cares to take them. I should know, I make them, but...
Well, I for one can't see what she's talking about. This looks like traditional British dining to me. During a spot of gin, Mrs. Lovett tells Benjamin the fate of his wife. It seems that the loss of her husband and the unending persistence and cruelty from Judge Alan Rickman led her to poison herself. And as for his daughter...
Judge Turpin
adopted her like his own.
So your socially powerful mortal enemy sent you to prison because he was in love with your wife, who then killed herself, and then he took your daughter to raise as his own? Well, from the sounds of it, I think your daughter has grown up to be Catherine Zeta-Jones from The Mask of Zorro.
Well, I can't say the years have been particularly kind to you, Mr. Barker.
No. Not Barker. It's Todd now. Sweeney Todd.
Oh, so now I get the title of the movie. Meanwhile, over in Immense Coincidence Land, Anthony has a love-at-first-sight moment with Sweeney Todd's daughter, who spends all of her days cooped up in the judge's mansion.
Outside the sky waves beckoning, beckoning.
And here I was thinking the new Cinderella movie didn't come out until later this month. Hey, maybe you can get Helena Bonham Carter's version of the fairy godmother to cook the evil stepmother into a pie. That'll end things nice and quick.
Oh, well, hello, old beggar woman who obviously has no significance to the story. I look forward to you totally not being a major plot twist later.
I feel you, Joanna.
That can land you in jail, my friend. Or dead if Alan Rickman has anything to say about it.
Mark me. If I see your face again on this street, you'll rue the day you were born.
Hyde Park is that way, young man. A left and a right straight on, you see. Over there!
Hold on. Helena Bonham Carter, Alan Rickman, Jamie Bower, and now Tim Spall?
Shit, it's a Harry Potter reunion.
I'll steal you, Joanna.
Okay, now he's just turning into Eric from Cupid. Back with Victor and the Corpse Bride. They have hit the town after word that the best barber in London has arrived, and Sweeney obviously wants to eliminate any competition.
I am Adolfo Pirelli, the king of the barbers, the barber of kings. Buongiorno, good day.
Oh dear, it's Sacha Baron Cohen.
So is this going to be the first movie on his resume where he doesn't whip out his penis?
Sweeney calls him out for a shave off. And, sir, I really hope you asked him to rinse those razors off before he started, because that's probably the one he used to shave his groin for Bruno. Of course, Sweeney wins, which sure seems to impress the Prime Minister from Little Britain, but more importantly, the judge's assistant.
Your establishment is in Fleet Street, you say?
Yes, sir.
Then, Mr. Todd, you shall surely see me there before the week is out.
Ah, luring your victims to you. Oh, Todd, you sneaky bastard. Oh, what's this? Anthony, will you stop stalking that poor girl? Okay, well, I know love works fast sometimes, but can you at least share one word of dialogue with him before throwing him the key to your chastity belt? But it seems Borat isn't being a gracious loser, as the next day he visits Sweeney at the pie shop and reveals that he knows he's really Benjamin Barker and threatens to expose him and his plan to the judge's assistant. That goes about as well as expected.
Is you gonna hit me again?
And in case we didn't already have enough reasons to think that Judge Alan Rickman was evil,
I therefore sentence you to hang by the neck until you're dead, and may the Lord have mercy on your soul. Court is adjourned.
well, that's what you get for slacking off in potions class, Ron. He also has another great idea. Apparently he plans to marry Joanna. You know, the girl he's raised as his daughter for the last 15 years.
This may not qualify for an incest in the morning sound clip, but it's still freaking gross!
But some good news does come out of this. The assistant recommends that he visit Sweeney Todd for a shave to make sure he looks his best for her.
You see, sir, a man infatuate with love, her ardent and eager slave.
Alan Rickman's singing.
Hey, don't get me wrong. Alan Rickman has a great voice and all, and he's brilliantly cast as the powerful and corrupt judge. But to my ears, he only really has the one tone. Well, enough of all of that. The time has finally arrived. Sweeney Todd will finally get his revenge.
May we proceed? Pretty women, fascinating.
Sweeney, I know this is a musical and all, but you've waited 15 years for this moment. Slit his throat already!
As expected, the duet cost him too much time, and Anthony bursts in, blurting out that he plans to run away with Joanna that night, which causes the judge to storm out with no intention of ever returning. Sweeney is naturally infuriated by that, but is brought back to reality by a more immediate problem.
We got a body mouldering away upstairs. Now, what do you intend we should do about that then?
Later on when it's dark, we'll take it to some secret place and bury it.
However, Mrs. Lovett has a better idea. With the price of meat as high as it is, why not put the corpse to some use? Put him in a fucking pie! And not just him.
It's priest, have a little priest.
Is it really good?
So it's too good, at least. Then again, they don't commit sins of the flesh, so it's pretty fresh.
Awful lot of fat.
Only where it's at.
Haven't you got poet or something like that?
No, you see, the trouble with poet is how do you know it's deceased? Try the priest.
Sorry, this is actually my favourite song in the movie, and I guarantee you'll never hear a more chipper song about cannibalism in your life.
So to enact this plan, it's time for a montage, where Sweeney modifies his barber chair with a trapdoor that'll dump his slash-throated victims directly into the basement for pie processing.
And are you beautiful and pale with yellow hair like her? I'd want you beautiful and pale the way I've dreamed you were.
I love it. Slashing throats doesn't even break his tune. Hey look, it's that crazy beggar woman who has no importance to the story whatsoever again. Hello! The judge, meanwhile, has sent Joanna off to the mental hospital to make sure that she can't run away with Anthony. Make sure you take plenty of Hypnosil when you're in there, Joanna. We don't want the memories of Freddy to come back. Well, after many nights of nonchalant murder, the grand reopening of Mrs. Lovett's Meat Pies is on. And it's a big hit indeed. They even hired Borat's old servant boy. Hey, if one little homeless kid can get a job out of all of this, then maybe it's all worth it after all. Jesus, look at them all. This makes the dinner party opening from Red Dragon look like a vegetarian entree. However, Sweeney, it seems, is still not satisfied, as his thirst for revenge against the judge seems to be all he thinks about. Even Mrs. Lovett's romantic advances go unnoticed. Hell, he even looks completely despondent in her fantasies. Tim, I think you're getting your wardrobes mixed up. Speaking of fantasies, I think you're setting your sights a little high there, kiddo.
Nothing's gonna harm you, not while I'm around.
I snark, but this is actually a pretty sad moment. Because the boy is getting a little too close for comfort to figuring out what Todd and Lovett are really up to. And she's really grown fond of him, and doesn't want Sweeney to kill him. But he unfortunately knows too much. She locks him in the baking room, full of human corpses, and comes back with Todd, but the boy seems to have escaped into the sewers. Anthony, meanwhile, has broken Joanna out of the nut house, and arrives at the pie shop with her in disguise to hide out before they run away together. Wait, why are you hiding away, Joanna? It's just the old lady breaking into the barber shop. There's nothing that could go wrong here.
Who are you?
That's strange. Why didn't my orchestral zinger alarm sound when you walked in?
That's right, quickly dispatch her, because who should arrive but the judge? Yeah, because when Anthony broke Joanna out, Sweeney actually dobbed them in order to regain the judge's trust.
Father of the Year!
No, he's not even thinking like a father anymore. This story has come to the point where the reason for his revenge is forgotten, even to him. But when he finally gets his man, it's his finest work yet.
Wait, so Severus Snape dies in the last movie? Spoiler!
Hell, he almost takes out Joanna next, who he mistakes for a boy. But Mrs. Lovett's screams bring him down to the baking room instead.
it, Sweeney. It's just the old beggar woman with yellow hair. No. No!
Don't I know you? She's...
It's his fucking wife!
Holy shit! Well, there you go. The revenge is coming full circle. The obsession that grew to consume him has now destroyed everything he cared for. Granted, Mrs. Lovett having lied to him about her being dead sure didn't help, but he seems to be taking it pretty well. Maybe the two really can move on from this.
Well, maybe he just thought she needed a tan. I mean, everyone in this movie is kind of pale and all.
And to give this finale a little bit of the Hamlet flavour, this movie comes to an end with the boy crawling back up from the sewers, nabbing Todd's razor, and slitting the barber's throat.
And if I had actually seen Edward Scissorhands, I probably could have made a few references. And that was Sweeney Todd.
I feel musicals are hard to judge because they're a unique case. They don't have regular character interactions, dialogue, or pacing. But as a story, I can definitely say that this movie is fantastic. I got an almost Robin Hood-like vibe from it, with the focus on social standings between the rich and the poor, and the individual characters' positions and views within them. Character-wise, Sweeney Todd begins as a man we can really sympathise with, and really want to see him claim his revenge, and then go off and live happily with Mrs. Lovett. But as the movie progresses, we begin to see the price his actions take on his soul. The music, being the focus of this movie obviously, is great, with many hauntingly beautiful numbers and a few fun bouncy ones to further cement our like for these characters. While I think it was a little slow in the beginning, the payoff is definitely worth it, and this is one dark romance that no Burton fan should be without.
And that's all we have time for today! So, I'm Fedora, this is Oh the Horror, save a screen for me, and we'll see you next time.
Pretty women, fascinating, sipping coffee, dancing. Pretty women are a wonder. Pretty women sitting in the window, standing on the stairs.